The turf routers, they are out in full force this weekend. And one place they're going to be, Saratoga, the Grade 1 Sport Dancer Stakes, a mile and a half on the inner turf. And not only is it a $750,000 purse, it is a win and you're in to the Breeders' Cup turf. 9 horses are looking to stamp their way to that prestigious Breeders' Cup race. We have 2 by Frankel, 3 by English Channel, a globe-trotting success, and last year's winner looking to defend his title. How will you find your winner? Facts and figures, we're going to give you the winning edge. I give you the stats, you make the picks. Hi, it's Maura from Trifecta and a little bit extra. And we're about to go through all 9 contenders. Don't have time for all 9? That's okay. I have timestamps below. Slide to the horse you want to hear about most. Or just take me with you on your errands. I am now a podcast on YouTube Music. Find me under Saratoga Stakes Weekly. I do want to start by saying horse betting is not legal in every state, so if you're betting, make sure it's legal. Now, before we get started, we had a little bit of fun with the Whitney last weekend. As a recap, Sierra Leone proved to be the powerhouse we thought he was going to be. Fierceness, where did you go? Just when I thought I had you figured out, you disappeared on me again. And Highland Falls, my pick. He gave me the thrill of a lifetime. I thought he was gonna win. We had a little bit of fun on this show too. I said, drop me a comment, any comment. And if you did, I'd put your name in a hat, pull one name out, and feature you in this intro. So, drum roll please. I have everybody's name who dropped me a comment in my favorite hat, my Justify hat, because you all know how much I love Justify. And here we go. The one viewer I want to feature this week and say thank you for being a viewer and participating is Charles Badrock. Thank you, Charles. Charles also gave me the heads up on that Bob Baffert horse at Del Mar, that $3 million Bob Baffert horse. So thank you, Charles, for that, because I completely missed it with my eye surgery. But also thank you for being a viewer and participating and always dropping me comments when you see the videos. So really appreciate it. Now we're going to do it again because this is one of the more fun aspects of the show now. So drop me a comment, any comment, and next week I will feature you in the introduction. Now, on to the angles. So I like to start with angles, and I'm going to start with angles for this race as well. I look back through the past 15 runnings of the Sport Dancer Stakes, and here's what I found with winners. All had a graded stakes win. That means class is super important, and a win at the longer distances is also key. 9-1 at 1.25 miles or longer, like this distance. Another tip on class, all but 2 prepped in a graded stakes race. And key prep race, the United Nations Stakes race, as well as the Bowling Green. Now, I always give you an angle like, hey, tactical speed is important. You want to be within so many lengths of the leader at the half pole. Not here. 10 of the last 15 winners actually had 4 more lengths from the leader at the half pole. Do you want to know what was more important than that? That late pace speed, that big burst of momentum at the end, that rally, that drive. That's what we're going to be looking for. Now, can horses win from the lead? Absolutely, there were 3. And one is our defending champ, Farbridge, who's also in this year's race. I do want to talk about the inner turf at Saratoga because, man, you've got to be positioned really well from the start. Those are some tight turns on the inner turf, and the stretch is very short. Horses that go really wide around that last turn, they can lose momentum and they don't really have a chance to catch up. So you want to look for horses that have really good turn of foot and a jockey that can get them into the right position, especially near that hedge. The other thing I want to point out over the last 15 runnings, Clement won 4, and his son Miguel has Barbridge in the race. So can he follow in his footsteps? And oh, by the way, favorites only won 6 of the last 15 runnings. The number 1 horse is El Cordobes. He is trained by Charles Appleby and will be ridden by Flavien Prat. This is a 4-year-old by Frankel. Frankel produces top turf routers. 9 starts, 3 wins, 2 places, and 2 shows. Now, this horse has only had 2 graded stakes entries, but both were at this distance, and one was a win and the other was a show. So he has the graded stakes win angle. That win came in his prep race, the G2 Princess of Wales in Newmarket. That means he gets that angle, a prep in a graded stakes race. Very patient in that race until 3 furlongs, where he swung out and kicked for home. Now, his rider, William Buick, he said that race was quite exciting because he had that kick at the end, and that's what we're looking for, that big burst of momentum at the end. And it also means that he hits all 3 angles. He's also a distance specialist. 4 starts at the 1.5 miles with 2 wins, 1 place, and 1 show. And that means always on the board. His trainer says he relishes this distance. Now, he's been doing some globetrotting, been in Maidan, been in England, and now makes his first start in the States. He doesn't get his regular rider, William Buick. He's going on Stablemate Nation's Pride, but he will be getting Flavien Prat, who is a top jockey in the States. Will this horse turn the table on his stablemates and win the G1 Sword Dancer? The number 2 horse is Rebel Red, trained by Cherie DeVoe. He'll be ridden by Irad Ortiz Jr. And if you want another horse with a strong late kick, look at Rebel Red. Another by Frankel, a 5-year-old by Frankel with 13 starts, 4 wins, 1 place, and 1 show. Of the 13 starts, 5 were in graded stakes races. And guess what? None of them were winners. Remember, out of the last 15 winners of the Sword Dancer Stakes, they were all graded stakes winners. His top win was in June, the Chorleywood Stakes race, a $200,000 stakes race at Churchill Downs going 1 mile and 3/8. He was way in the back, but at the end just turned on the momentum, got the win, and a 100 buyer. Now, he did prep in a graded stakes race, so he gets that angle. He was in the G2 United Nations Stakes. There, he met up with the number 3 horse, Vote No, and the number 8 horse, Grand Sonata, in this race. Now, he got bumped coming out of the gates. Again, he was way in the back. When he started to build his momentum, he went to go around the turn, had to go wide, and just lost all momentum, coming in 7th with a 93 buyer. He's tried this distance twice. Unfortunately, one time he fell and didn't finish, and the other time he came in 4th. So he doesn't have really good stats at this distance, but he does have something going for him. He's been on the inner turf at Saratoga twice. Both were 1 mile and a 16th races. One he won, and the other he came in 7th. Now, I do really like his strong late pace. I like the fact he has Irad Ortiz, and I like the fact that he's been on the inner turf at Saratoga and won. But unfortunately, he doesn't have the class that I've been looking for. I really want to see a graded stakes win. The number 3 horse is Vote No, trained by Kelsey Danner. He'll be ridden by Kenny Carmouche. 16 starts, 5 wins, 2 places, and 2 shows. Of those 16 starts, 3 were graded stakes races, but no wins. Remember, out of all 15 winners of the Sword Dancer, all had a graded stakes win. Now, the best this horse could do in the graded stakes race was 3rd in the Castle and Key Bourbon Stakes as a 2-year-old going a mile and a 16th. I do want to point this out. Of the 5 wins, 2 came after transitioning to Danner's Barn. One was at Horseshoe Indy, a mile race on a good surface, $49,000 allowance race. This horse was in no hurry, but had a big late kick at the end, rallies, gets the win with a 93 buyer. His next race is the Cape Henlopen Stakes. This distance at Delaware Park, comes out of post position 1, gets to be mid to the back of the pack, rides that rail all the way until the final turn, swings out, momentum turns on, win with a 96 buyer. Then he goes to a key prep race for this race, the G2 United Nations race. In that race, he got bumped coming out of the gate from both sides. He drops to mid-pack. He gets on the inside, has some momentum, but comes in 4th with a 98 buyer. This is a very interesting 4-year-old who is trending in the right direction. I like the late kick. I like that he prepped in the United Nations stake race, a key prep race for this race, and didn't do poorly in that race. I just don't like the fact he doesn't have that graded stakes win. So for me personally, I wouldn't be looking for him to win, but also personally, it wouldn't surprise me if this horse continues to progress and possibly hits the board. Before we go on to the next contender, if you're finding this information useful, hit like and hit subscribe. Don't miss out on my horse racing coverage. I'm doing 1 race a week for Saratoga, then on to the Derby preps. The number 4 horse is Padiddle, trained by Fernando Abreu. He'll be ridden by Ricardo Santana Jr., a 5-year-old by Empire Maker. 12 starts, 1 win, 3 places, and 5 shows. Now, of the 12 starts, 3 were graded stakes entries, all in his 5-year-old campaign. But unfortunately, in all 3, he came in 3rd. That means he doesn't get the graded stakes handicapping angle. His one and only win has been as a 5-year-old. After he was claimed and transferred to Abreu's barn, he went into a mile and 3/8 race at Gulfstream on firm turf and won that race. Now, prior to that, 7 tries on the dirt and turf, and none were winners. After finally breaking his maiden, he goes to the G3 Pan American Stakes race. And that race, this distance. Now, he was 43-1 that day. And in the race, he was way back in 6th position, but was able to get up to 3rd. He completely outran his odds that day and earned a 90 buyer. The winner of that race, the number 7 horse in this race, Farbridge. He backs up that buyer and his board-hitting status in the G2 Man o' War Stakes at Belmont at Aqueduct, going a mile and 3/8. Again, very reserved in that race, but had that really good rally and comes in 3rd. And again, the winner of that race, Farbridge. His last race was here on the inner turf, a mile and 3/8. But it was a $110,000 allowance race, so he doesn't get the angle of prepping in a graded stakes race. Comes out of post position 9, was mid-pack, tries to make a rally, but finishes 4th with an 83 buyer. Now, we have seen progression from him in his 5-year-old campaign, but he is going to be having a class test in this race, and Farbridge has bested him twice. The number 5 horse is Nation's Pride. Trained by Charles Appleby, he'll be ridden by regular rider William Buick. Buick has been on him for all but 2 of his races. This isn't just any 6-year-old. He has won $3.7 million by racing all over the world. We have Maidan, we have England, Woodbine, Colonial Downs, Saratoga, Belmont, Keeneland, and Germany. You hardly ever hear of Germany. And he has won on all types of surfaces: good, yielding, soft, firm. 22 starts, 11 wins. That means half the time he's been in the winner's circle with 3 places and 2 shows. He's had 16 graded stakes entries, 7 wins. Boy, does he blow that angle right out of the water. But out of those 7 wins, only 1 was at this distance, and that was in 2022. In fact, he's only tried this distance 3 times, and all 3 tries were back in 2022. One was Belmont at Aqueduct. That's where he got the win. The other was Breeders' Cup Turf at Keeneland, where he came in 5th. And then the other was Epsom. His trainer has said he's really looking at getting him back to this distance and thinks that he'll be okay, citing that win at Belmont at Aqueduct back in 2022. Nearly half of his graded stakes entries were at the 1.25 miles. In fact, 4 of his 7 graded stakes wins were at the 1.25 miles. Now let's talk a little bit about his racing style. He tends to stalk about 2 to 5 lengths from the leader at the half pole. But in this race, he actually may make the lead. Let's look at his 6-year-old campaign. He starts out at Gulfstream, 1 mile and an 1/8 in the Pegasus Cup Turf International. He was the favorite that day, but he was keen and headstrong, and he was stuck on the rail. His jockey was trying to find a hole. There was no hole to be found, and he finishes 9th with a 93 buyer. Then he ships to Meydan for 2 mile and an 1/8 races. One, he wins. The other, he weakens and comes in 10th. His top recent buyer, 103, and that was at Colonial Downs in the Arlington Millions. He raced off the pace on the inside. Around the turn, he made a move and wins that race. He also has Saratoga experience, just not on the inner turf. 2 starts. One was in the Saratoga Derby in 2022, where he got the win. The next time was in the Manhattan. Now, he was with Farbridge that day. They dueled and went neck and neck. And Nation's Pride came in 2nd, and Farbridge came in 3rd. Will Nation's Pride actually make the lead in this race and never look back? Serious contender. The number 6 horse is last year's winner, here to defend his title, Farbridge. Trained by Miguel Clement, he'll be ridden by Joel Rosario, and Joel Rosario has been on him for his last 7 races. Now, I want to tell you a fun fact that I found. When I was looking at this race, I looked back to 1976, and I found 7 pairs of back-to-back winners. That's the most I've ever seen. So will Farbridge make it number 8? Also, another fun fact, the last time we had a back-to-back winner was 21 and 22, when it was Gufo, trained by who? Christophe Clement. So will Miguel follow in his father's footsteps and keep this tradition going? Farbridge is a 5-year-old by English Channel, and English Channel produces top turf routers. 18 starts, 9 wins. That means half the time in the winner's circle, 3 places and 3 shows. And that means 15 out of the 18 starts on the board. Another thing, 15 of his 18 starts, graded stakes entries. This horse is all class with 6 wins, 3 starts, and 3 shows. Also, this horse really likes this distance. 4 starts at this distance with 3 wins. He really relishes it, and the top buyer for this distance goes to Farbridge with a 102. Let's talk about that win in this race last year. Comes out of post position 3, gets to the inside on the lead. Now, he was setting the pace all the way around the track, and it was not a very fast-paced race. Silver Knot was stalking him, and measured time, he came after the both of them. But when they went around the far turn, because he was on the inside, he had the advantage. He took that corner like a champ, cleared away, and won with 100 Beyer. Then he shows some versatility. He goes to the Joe Hirsch Turf Classic. This distance at Belmont at Aqueduct. There it was a good track, 5-horse field. He starts from the outside. He gets close to the rail coming out of the gate, but he's sitting like in 3rd and 4th position in this 5-horse field. Then he kind of gets trapped on the inside and he falls all the way to the back. There was no room for him to go. But around the turn, he swings wide. He gets cleared and gets the win with a 102 Beyer. He ends his 4-year-old campaign in the Breeders' Cup Turf. This distance at Del Mar. In a field of 13, he comes out of post position 6, gets to the rail, very close to the lead, stalking in 2nd. He tries to ride the rail, but there's really no place for him to go. And at one point, he weakens and he finishes 9th with a 98 Beyer. His 5-year-old campaign has been super strong. 4 starts with 3 wins, and those wins were in G2 and G3 races going longer distances. He begins in the G3 Pan American race at Gulfstream. There, again, he gets to the rail. Seems to be what he loves to do. Then, going around the turn, he swings wide. He's got to battle corruption down the stretch, but he wins by a neck with a 96 Beyer. Moves to the G2 Man of War, Belmont at Aqueduct, 1 mile and 3/8. And there, again, rates nicely on the inside, wins with a 99 Beyer. He comes here to Saratoga for the G1 Manhattan, 1 mile and 1/8 on a good track. He's coming out of post position 9. When he comes out of the gate, it's hard for him to get to the rail, which he loves to do. Now, he finally gets there going into the first turn. He's stalking the leader, tries to make a move on the leader on the end, but finishes 3rd with a 99 Beyer. Last stop here at Saratoga, the G2 Bowling Green, 1 mile and 3/8 on the inner turf. Comes out of the gate, gets to the rail just like he likes to do. He is stalking the leader. Goes around the turn, makes a move, bam, wins with a 101 Beyer. This horse is improving. Miguel has said he is progressing really nicely in his campaigns this year, and you have to take him seriously as he defends his title. Psst. Now just remember, make sure you comment below. I'm going to pick one lucky viewer from those comments and feature them in next week's introduction. The number 7 horse is Rezeen. Trained by Todd Pletcher, he'll be ridden by Dylan Davis. This is a 4-year-old by English Channel. And remember, English Channel produces top turf routers. And being 4 means he has upside. 9 starts, 2 wins, 3 places, and 1 show. Of the 9 starts, 2 were graded stakes entries, but no wins. So he does not have the graded stakes win angle. It took him 5 tries to break his maiden, but when he did it, it was here at Saratoga going this distance on the inner turf. But with that win, very light Beyer of 81. Now it seems he really likes Saratoga inner turf. He goes into a $110,000 allowance race, 1 mile and 3/8 inner turf here at Saratoga, wins by 3 with a 93 Beyer. Then goes to the Jockey Club Derby International, 1 mile and 3/8 at Belmont at Aqueduct. He had a big move in that race, but the best that he could do was 3rd with an 89 Beyer. As a 4-year-old, his first stop was in an allowance race, 1 mile and 1/16, comes in 2nd with a 90 Beyer. Then he meets up with Farbridge in the G2 Bowling Green here at Saratoga on the inner turf. Farbridge got the best of him that day. He finishes 2nd, but he got his best Beyer yet of a 96. Now this horse has a lot of upside and he seems to be figuring things out. What I really like about him is the fact he really loves Saratoga. 3 times on the inner turf with 2 wins and 1 place, and that means always in the exacta. He's stepping up in class and he's going to need to improve his speed, but he is on the upswing and somebody I'm personally going to consider in this race. The number 8 horse is Grand Sonata, Rezeen stablemate. Trained by Todd Pletcher, he'll be ridden by Manny Franco, a 6-year-old, most experienced horse in the field. 30 starts. Yes, I said it, 30 starts. 5 wins, 8 places, and 2 shows. But I do want to tell you this. In all 30 starts, he has yet to crack a triple-digit buyer. But his best buyer of 99 actually came in his last race as a 6-year-old. Now, of those 30 starts, 19 were graded stakes entries. That is a super classy horse, but he's only won 2. One was at this distance, and that was in 2024 at Kentucky Downs. He has ran this distance 5 times, and that Kentucky Downs win is the only time he hit the board. But let's talk about that win. In that race, he comes out of the gate. He falls to mid to the back of the pack. Now remember, Kentucky Downs has that very different configuration going uphill. He stays on the rail. He sneaks all the way up the rail and wins with a 99 buyer. Now, Grand Sonata was in last year's Sword Dancer. How did he do? In a field of 5, unfortunately, he weakened. He finished last and earned an 88 buyer. In his 6-year-old campaign, he has gone 5 times. And the last time we saw him was in a key prep race for this race, the G2 United Nations, where he did very well, coming in second with a 99 buyer. Now, he's a very talented horse, but I'm not even sure he's going to be in this race because he's also entered into the Arlington Millions at Colonial Downs. Given he doesn't have the speed like the other runners, he wouldn't be a horse for me personally that would be on top. The number 9 horse is Utah Beach. Trained by Ignacio Carreras, he'll be ridden by Jose Ortiz, a 5-year-old by English Channel. And remember, English Channel is a top sire of turf routers. This horse has 16 starts, 5 wins, 5 places, and 1 show, and really loves this distance. Of those 16 starts, 7 are at this distance with 4 wins and 1 show. He's had 6 graded stakes entries with 2 wins. Both came this year and both were at this distance. So he gets the graded stakes win angle. In April at Keeneland in the G2 Elkhorn, he was in a field of 12, a very large field. He was mid-pack. He looked like he had nowhere to go and the pace was slow. But he was able to rally and win by a neck in a 99 buyer. He backs up that win in the G3 Louisville Stakes in a field of 9. He was back of the pack. Again, has that rally, wins by a length and a half and 100 buyer. So he has the graded stakes win angle and he has the very strong late speed we're looking for. So that angle as well. And his trainer says the longer the distance, the better he is. So this is a horse we really need to take seriously. The trainer also admits he throws in some flops every now and then. His last race was one of those flops. The Chorleywood Stakes, a 1 3/8 at Churchill Downs. Now his prep race was not a graded stakes race, so he does not get that angle. In that race, he got checked in the stretch, finished 7th. This horse has a very strong late pace, and we should pay attention to that. He may not have Saratoga experience, but he's got Jose Ortiz as a jockey, and Jose Ortiz knows how to get around the Saratoga track. Now it's your turn. Drop me a comment below, any comment. I'm going to pick one name out of a hat from those comments and feature them in next week's introduction. Make sure you hit like and hit subscribe. 1 race a week for Saratoga, then on to the Derby preps. Never miss out on my horse racing coverage. I hope you all find your winner on Saturday. Cheers!